Welcome to another TRB success interview. I am joined today by a good client called Bruce Tate, who's just finished what we call now, voted by my members, the Back in Control Blueprint. So we've got a new name, but we've got the same results. So Bruce is going to give us around 15 minutes today to talk through his life-changing journey, to say the least. So without further ado, if you just want to introduce yourself, Bruce, and give a bit of a background on you, and we'll go from there.
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Chris. I'm Bruce Tate. I'm a businessman. I'm based in central Scotland, but I have 9 companies now in Ireland, Canada, South Africa, as well as Scotland. They're all small companies. They're all pretty much SMEs, and 5 of them are probably still in the startup category. So, but they are fascinating, and my work is in the non-profit world. So most of the organisations I work with are charities. So they don't have to. They don't pay particularly well, nor should they. So I have to work particularly hard, I think, to get the companies going. But it's great. I love it. I love my work.
Very time constraint was one of the biggest things that you were struggling with, wasn't it? So can you try and paint the picture of where you were at the start?
Yeah, too much on my plate, far too much. So many plates I had to keep spinning, and to do the kind of work I do, you need to be a practitioner. So I need to keep up with the way that charities work. So I was on the board of several organisations. That took up a lot of time. I've got a young daughter who's gone through, a lot of the difficulties that school kids have. They've been through COVID over the last couple of years. So, she was taking up a great deal of my time. Wife's got a very stressful job. She's a primary head teacher. So, she needs a lot of support, and she obviously has to spend a lot of time in evening meetings and things. So, yeah, I've got to look after my elderly mum who's got dementia. So, an awful lot in my life, and it was just becoming a mountain on top of me, really. And the only thing to do was to let myself slide. I'm only 59, but at times I felt an awful lot older than that. So, yeah, just far too much going on, detrimental to my health, and all accumulated in July last year when I had a heart attack on the streets of Edinburgh in the Royal Mile. I didn't realise it was a heart attack, but for about 6 months before that, I'd had what I thought was actually a vascular condition. My GP thought it might be long COVID, but it was heart disease, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd probably had 5 or 6 heart attacks prior to that, but I'd managed to sort of walk them off, as they would say on the football pitch. But this one, no walking off. I was in Edinburgh Royal Infirmary and had a triple heart bypass within a few days.
And that
it's
was
a life lesson for me.
Yeah, that was the wake-up call, right?
Yeah. So doing something about it was something that it took me a few months to get round to, because the heart attack was dreadful. The heart operation was grueling. It took me the best part of a year to recover from the operation. I won't go into too much detail, but it's not a pleasant thing to have done as the operation. So after about a year, I decided enough is enough. This is life or death. I have been given a warning, and I'd be a fool not to listen to that warning, which is when a friend, another guy that works in the same sector as me, had come across you, Chris, and the pair of us both signed up.
Yeah, you both changed your lives. There you go. And I think one of the most powerful things you said, I did actually do a post on that, was, I want to walk my daughter down the aisle one day. That was a real powerful quote that got me.
Yeah, I was in real danger of not being here. Very real danger. And to some extent, I still am, unless I screw the nut. I'm not finished my journey at all. So I think it really was life or death. And to me, that represented, I've got a big investment in my daughter. She's, someone I've spent an awful lot of time with. I've been very involved in her growing up. She's an adopted child, so she's a chosen one, as I keep telling her. And yeah, to me, that relationship is all embodied in the idea of me walking her down the aisle, and to not be there, and for her the day that she gets married, if she does, or whatever else she does significantly in life, for me to not be at it would be, I think, a cruel thing for me to do to her, just because I wanted another pie, or another pint, or whatever it was, or just couldn't be bothered getting off my backside and exercising. So That's what drives me forward, is being there for my daughter in her years to come.
Mm. And then what did you try previously before we met to lose weight over the years?
Big diets. So twice in my life I've lost in excess of 4 stone. Last time I did it was about 6 years ago, because I knew I was going to give up smoking, and everybody said you put on weight when you stop smoking. So in advance of stopping smoking, I lost 6 stone. It was an Atkins sort of diet that I did. It was Atkins. And as soon as I got to my target, I went for stop smoking sessions, just one, and I stopped smoking. I haven't smoked since. And to celebrate all of this, I thought, okay, I'm going to take, that's my job done now. You know, I'm not a smoker, and I've lost all of this weight. And it was astonishing how quickly the weight came back. It really was. It wasn't like, you know, 2 sides of a peak or anything like that. It was a year losing this weight, and it felt like it's in a matter of a few months, it all piled back on, and more. And more. That was the worst bit. So I lost 6 stone, but then I put back on 8.
Which then makes the mountain feel even bigger, right? You're like, oh, how can I do that again, possibly?
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, I mean, that was a celebration, and in a way, I knew I shouldn't be doing that, but you know, when you're busy, it's easy to give yourself a wee excuse. You know, to some of the bonkers notions that I had in my head. Well, it's all right because I played a lot of sports when I was young, so I can carry it. You're a big guy, but you can carry it. People,
yeah, you're 6 foot. What was it? 4, 6'3"?
6'3", yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, that's somewhat true, but by the end of it, I was looking at pictures of myself and I was just appalled, absolutely appalled. I had to do something about it. But you're not, as I say, necessarily of wanting to look better. I just wanted to still be there.
And then talk about what we've done together the past 12 weeks. How do you think this time around it's been different for you?
Because there's absolutely no chance that I'm putting this back on. I'm going to lose 6 stone again. I'm absolutely committed to that. And in a remarkably short time, it's been, well, I think I've taken like a week longer to do the process, because in the middle of it, I got shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
But you know, we worked through that, didn't we? We had a plan. So in a remarkably quick time, a period of time, I've moved from I need to lose a lot of weight to I am going to lose a lot of weight. Now I know how. And I changed those things. I got rid of those stupid notions in my head that were holding me back, that I was using as an excuse or a crutch. They're gone. It's a mindset change, you know, not just a behavioural change.
Yeah.
And we've always said this is the start of the journey for me, but this is the end of the start of the journey for me now.
And how do you think you've achieved those mindset shifts? Because it's not rocket science, but the simplest things have really been effective for you, haven't they? In terms of steps, for example, like it's life changing for you. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, the walking is there's so many upsides though, and that's what I've been trying to sort of post about in my successes. So I've had to find roughly 2 hours a day to walk in, and I found that by getting up slightly earlier. But I was up early anyway. I was just watching the news on the telly. I can get up, go for a walk. It's like a podcast on, which I've been doing, and I feel better educated than I would watching breakfast telly. I've seen different sides of the city that I live in. I've seen beautiful sunrises and sunsets when I've been walking. I've been joined by my wife on some of the walks as well. I've found new watering holes. I found a guitar shop, a vintage guitar shop that'd been there for years.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'd driven past it because I drove everywhere. So yeah, the walking in particular, I think, has been a revelation for me. That's really, really helped. I've enjoyed the challenge of the fasting element of it, and that's no problem. That's no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, it's worked well for you, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all in 13 weeks, 30 stone. I wish 30 pounds.
30 pounds in the 13 weeks.
Yeah.
And then how's that transformed your life? What kind of benefits have you had from losing that weight and just the mindset shift you've had? How's that impacted both you as a man, business, family life, etc.?
Loads. Clarity is a clear one. I'm not as sort of mushy. I'm not trying to balance. I can focus on one thing at a time. Didn't expect that. And I think something I said earlier in one of the groups was, I'm finding I'm a better listener. I can sit down and hear somebody's story or proposition without getting frustrated that I should be getting on with something else. Don't have time to listen to you. Got to be doing this.
Yeah.
I do have time to listen to people, and I do, and I benefit from it. I've kept up with friendships that I was in danger of losing because I was neglecting them. Just mates, going for a cup of coffee. I've got, there's a creative side to me. I play in a band, and
the picture behind you, the creative elephant there, it's back, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
When you
got to talk about the elephant in the room, Chris.
Yeah, when your brain's just so suffocated with stress, you cannot have that creative side. Now that's just gone out your brain. You just got that back, haven't you? So
absolutely, and that's the thing. There's those 2 hours have been something I've had to find, and I've had to find them to somewhat from my business as well. So I'm less at my business, but the creativity that has been sparked within me is going to easily overcome the lack of time. I was in my business far too much. I did 14-hour days, so they've had to drop to 12-hour days. And but that's not a loss because there's 12 better hours of me that the business is getting more creative, more focused, and it's going to pay off on that front as well.
It's been quite the transformation. So what would your advice be to some guy who is in a similar boat to you, maybe not quite life or death, but is struggling behind the scenes of running multiple businesses, stressed out his head, and just feels like it's a mountain he can't climb? What would your advice be to that guy?
Yeah, well, listen, it's tough. I know it's tough because it feels like this is just another thing to add to your plate, but don't. It's a whole different plate. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. Find the time, because the time is there. So maybe it's an hour less in your bed, but that's an hour making yourself better, and your business better, and your family better, your friendships better, and being more creative. Absolutely, just go for it. Go for it. And there's lots of support. There really is. As well as the check-ins with Chris that are excellent. It's been great being a sort of part of the brotherhood, the community of people, seeing what the other guys are up to, and just getting a wee shout out from someone saying, "Well done, mate." It seems simple, but it really, really helps. And as business leaders, you actually don't get much of that. It's lonely at the top.
It's very lonely and isolating, this path, isn't it? Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah. So it was good. It felt good to be part of the brotherhood. And those guys are doing great. Even just today, we were swapping messages and cheering each other on. So my message is, go for it.
Awesome. Right, this is just phase 1 for Bruce. It's the beginning, so I'm sure we'll do another one 6 months down the line where he's even version 3 of Bruce. We call it level 2.0, but I'm guessing it'll be 3.0 in 6 months' time. So stay tuned for that. And very proud of your transformation and looking forward to the next chapter.
Well, thanks for everything, Chris. It's been life-changing.